The Waffle House has found its new host, and that reminds me that LEGO didn't partner with the Waffle House to sell LEGO waffles at the LEGO house. Why did this never happen? Anyway, welcome back to my weekly Q&A series. If you have a question for next week's episode, leave it down in the comment section below, hit the like while you're there. And our first question from Captain Stancom says, do you think that we will see LEGO making a Bad Batch version of Commander Cody in the near future, or do you think that LEGO put him in the ATTE to kill two birds with one stone? I don't believe the second part of that at all. The ATTE version of Commander Cody doesn't kill the stone that would be... Oh wait, the bird, the other bird, that would be a Commander Cody in an all grayed out version. That being said, colorblind people kind of have a head start on this one. They already essentially have both versions of Commander Cody they could want. Jokes aside, it would be extremely simple for LEGO to create a Bad Batch version of Phase 2 Cody because all they would have to do is make the existing print gray. So with that in mind, I think the highest potential for something like this would be in those $15 summer, potentially minifigure packs. There are now 4 of them on the rumor list for summer 2022, and if we see a Bad Batch Phase 2 Cody, that is where I would guess it would go. But my guess is as good as yours as far as that's concerned. Chris Smith says, what do you think the unknown helmet set will be that's coming out in the spring/summer? Personally, since Cody and Rex are the other two we're getting, I think it might be Gree, but what do you think? Also, what's your favorite Clone Wars set? The best Clone Wars set ever made is a dropship with ATOT, of course, but as it pertains to the helmet sets, you do say spring/summer. They're supposed to be releasing March 1st, so we actually should have a pretty clear answer on this very, very soon. Now, as far as the third mystery helmet, I have really been thinking it will be somewhat Endor or Episode 6 related in some way. It's the anniversary of Episode 6. You know, they've already got the 2 Clone Wars ones. To me, there's no way they're going to do a third Clone Wars one. There's only one small piece of conspiracy evidence that I have for this, and it's that a LEGO designer, I don't want to name him because if this ends up being true, I don't want to get in trouble, but a LEGO designer was in Copenhagen, Denmark. They posted it on Instagram. I took a screenshot of this because I was like, that's interesting. I wonder if this means that. And like, it very well could not. But they posted a picture of what looked like a dressing room where there was a guy wearing Captain Rex armor. Now, the obvious thing here is the Captain Rex helmet here is Phase 1, and the rumors that the Captain Rex helmet they're releasing is going to be Phase 2, so it doesn't really line up, but still, just run with me, and I wouldn't put it past LEGO Star Wars to make an error like that. But the other helmet that we can see in the scene is a Kylo Ren helmet, and it's like, it's not nothing to me. Like, it very well could be nothing, but if we're just having fun with a little conspiracy, Kylo Ren, the odds are no longer like 0 to me that Kylo Ren is that third helmet. This whole theory hinges on the idea that this is a dressing room for an advertisement that LEGO is creating for the new helmet lineup, potentially showing the real helmets with the LEGO helmets. It very well could not be true, but that's my theory. Scott Davis says, what are your thoughts about sequel sets from an investment side, sell now or hold on to? There have been some of them that I think have done pretty well on the value side, but for the most part, not really. And I think if you have the space and the ability and you don't need the money now, it makes all the sense in the world to just hold on to them. Now, I personally do not believe that the sequels in 10 years' time or 5 years' time are going to be as loved as the prequels became. There are a lot of people that do subscribe to the theory that is some of the kids that grew up with the sequels, that they will want those sets and start to share the love that they had for the sequels with everyone else. And maybe the whole opinion of everyone changes, but I personally don't see it, but if you see it, that's a great reason to hold on to it and wait. If you don't see it, maybe now is the time to sell. Speaking of sequels, Conja Club says, do you think LEGO owning probably the largest secondary market for its own product is a good thing, or is it harmful to the quality of the products and the consumer when it comes to new releases, as making a set might not be preferable as the original one is popular on Bricklink? So I do see your point. I do think if a set is selling really well on Bricklink, LEGO's taking their small cut of every sale that comes across on Bricklink, yeah, that definitely would dissuade them from bothering to make a new one when they're still going to make money from the old one anyway. Now, I think they'd make more money from releasing a new set, but either way, they're making money, so they can be a little bit more lax when it comes to creating new things that people would want to buy. I think it's been like 3 years since I bought Bricklink now, and I still, in my heart of hearts, do not know if it's a good or a bad thing. As far as I can tell in my personal experiences, it's been more or less the same, if not a little bit better now. Oh my God. Miami's really gonna beat the Bills. I just looked down and the ball's like rolling to the end zone. Come on. No way. It's only third quarter, but we need something. I hope this clears everything up for Mr. Goodell. We're good here. I suppose a counter argument to your point of sets selling well on Bricklink mean they won't remake stuff. Are sets like the Lego Ideas Saturn V or Lego Ideas Ship in a Bottle, like they immediately re-released those kind of shortly after they bought Bricklink, so it didn't seem to affect that. Now I will say, what specifically with Lego Star Wars, what the designers seem to have said is that they don't look at like market data at all for secondary markets like Bricklink, which is a shocking thing to say given that your company owns it, but I do recall an interview where they said they don't look at that sort of stuff. I do think there's another interesting conversation with Lego owning Bricklink that needs to be had, and it's the problem of Lego fans attacking other Lego fans. So we have the Lego Star Wars subreddit, which it has become a bit of a cesspool, I'm not gonna lie, but we have people on there that will have the opinion, and by opinion, I mean just straight up being wrong, that scalpers are not as bad as collectors. They say something to the effect of that people that collect Lego are worse for Lego than scalpers, because at least scalpers recirculate the Lego, and that, but if it goes to a collector, well then it's never sold again, and it's like, oh my Lord almighty. I mean, we can't have people enjoying collecting Lego the way they want to enjoy collecting Lego. And I believe this particular comment did pertain to the new 501st Battle Pack. And they're like, I hope we don't upvote people buying 10 of them. And like, it's like, what? People can't be excited that they bought Lego sets? It's kind of insane to me. But my kind of point is, and what I think people need to think about at some time, is that Lego owns Bricklink, and Lego releases all of these sets, and then within a week of releasing all of these sets, Lego, especially with the new 501st Battle Pack, because you get the, oh, leave some for everyone else every time someone posts it, Lego themselves is spurring on this idea that you should buy their product and resell it by allowing resellers to sell the day the set comes out, the new sets. Currently on Bricklink, we have 893 of the new 501st Battle Packs listed for sale that could otherwise be in the hands of children, that people will say if I post myself getting like 5 of them, like leave some for the kids. But what about Lego supporting this and making money off of it themselves, right? It's like kind of crazy that you'll come after a fan of Lego, but you won't attack Lego themselves for obviously being a party to this. And in the first 2 weeks of the set's availability, again, this is just on Bricklink, this is what Lego themselves have supported the sale of and are allowing the sale of, 1,799 of the new 501st Battle Packs have been sold through Bricklink. Sets that otherwise, again, could be in the hands of children or in the Redditors that keep commenting that they can't find one. But Lego themselves is allowing this, supporting it, and profiting off it. So why shouldn't you at the end of the day? That's kind of what I've come to. Salvador says, assuming we get a Phase 2 Rex in the summer wave, how angry will you be if the pauldron and wastecape are printed and not physical? Unfortunately, we already know they aren't going to be physical wastegapes. Lego has clearly done away with that after the year 2020, the Airborne Trooper being the last clone trooper to receive physical wastecape. But what we see in Lego Star Wars the video game is probably almost exactly what we will see in a final physical Lego form, and I don't like the way it looks. I know there will be the endless defenders of Lego here to say it's a kid's toy and that it looks fine and they don't mind, and that's great for you. How angry will I be? I don't know about that, but like, I'm not gonna like it. I already know I'm not gonna like it. I'm prepared not to like it. At least it won't be a surprise like how bad the 212th Troopers ended up being. I think most people probably already have their minds made up at this point whether or not they'll like the way a 2023 Phase 2 Rex will look, because we've basically already seen it. I think that this will actually drive up the value of the older figure, because a lot of people are going to prefer the way the older figure looks due to how bad the new helmet design is. Plus, of course, the physical wastecape, physical pauldron, which I've seen a lot of people say is a bigger deal to them than the helmet design, which, you know, I get it. It's 50-50. I think both things matter with clone troopers. By the way, it's definitely going to affect how people like this Phase 2 Rex figure when it inevitably does drop. And I think it's unfortunate because we could all be very happy with a Phase 2 Rex that has a physical wastecape and doesn't have goofy looking helmet holes. But when these things do exist, then you get the split in the fandom, versus otherwise people are just all going to be happy. And it's like, well, why didn't we just go with that route instead of the other route? And here we are just bickering at one another about whether or not the helmet holes look good or bad. Nathan Hop says, people have been asking you about investments recently with respect to Lego Star Wars. I recently snagged a UCS AT-AT for $625 and sold it for $850 on eBay and made no profit. After eBay's cut and shipping, I was even. What did I do wrong? Keep up the great work. Well, thank you, Nathan. And what you did wrong honestly isn't really anything. It's kind of out of your hands when you sell on a site like eBay. I want to say their fees tend to be around 12 or 13%. And I'll say selling on Whatnot and being sponsored by Whatnot, they did recently introduce something where everything that's after $500 only gets a 2% fee. So that could have saved you a little bit on the top end of that $500 there. But this is something that people that buy Lego don't really give a lot of thought to when they go to buy something on eBay or Whatnot. And they're like, oh, people are just jacking up the price. And it's like, look, here's a great example. Nathan sold his UCS AT-AT at retail price, bought it for $225 less, and didn't make a penny. That's not worth his time at all. If you're selling such a high ticket item, especially a heavy one, you're probably going to want to try like Facebook Marketplace, or I hate to say it, Craigslist in the future, man, to avoid shipping. So it would be like a local pickup type of thing, which can be shady. I get it if you don't want to do that. But I definitely think it's the best way to avoid all of those fees and the shipping cost. And then you would have made a $225 profit. Or I would also maybe suggest if you have a local Lego convention, trying to bring it there and sell it, if they allow people to just sell stuff there. I don't know. I obviously know quite a few people that do resell in the Lego space at quite a large clip, and a lot of them won't even touch it if it's not 40 or 50% off to begin with. So they wouldn't even touch that AT-AT unless it was like $500, you know, because otherwise they're not going to make money. And you've shown a great example of how difficult it can be to turn a profit when on its face it might seem simple. You buy it for $225 less, you sell it for $225 more. Bingo, bango, bongo, you're going to make a ton of money. And you didn't. I would suggest basically trying to find a platform with lower fees for some of those more expensive items, and make sure you do the math ahead of time. You know, if you're going to sell on a site like eBay or even whatnot, like figure out what your break-even cost is, and then you got to know what you got to do to beat that. Otherwise, you should be selling somewhere else, essentially. Jordan Rudolph says, do you have a budget for Lego? If so, what is it? Also, do you think you will ever grow fond of the UCS gunship? I think what the designer said to the fans when it came to that set will forever taint my view of it. I love the way the gunship looks. I hope to one day put one on display in my setup. I just think right now, for as much as I cared about that, and as much as Lego screwed myself and the fans on that in many, many different ways, some ways I care not to talk about, it's going to be a while before I'll be willing to put that on display. Probably not until after it's retired. But if you haven't heard, I'm in the process of buying a house. It's very exciting. And to get the loan, the bank wanted my 2022 like profit and loss. So they basically wanted to know how much money I made last year, because I haven't filed taxes for last year yet, because it's like the second week of January. So I had to go through, figure out how much I made and how much I spent to make that money. And so when it comes to my budget and Lego in recent years, I have been able to just blow the top off, basically. It's been kind of insane. And basically I just buy what I need to be able to make content and use the money that I make content to buy more Lego to make more content. And you can see the cycle goes up and up and up. And so last year in 2022, I spent by far the most amount of money I've ever spent on Lego in 1 year. But what also happened in 2022 is I also started selling things on Whatnot. So some of this cost, quite a bit of it probably too, is stuff that I bought as inventory, buy, sell, rinse, repeat, basically, for Whatnot auctions and sponsored things for stuff like that. Probably like 10, if not more, $1,000 of it was also probably giveaway items that I literally bought just to give away to you guys, sponsored by Whatnot or otherwise. Some of it is also investments for stuff that I'll sell later down the line, like File First Battle Packs, AATs, Mandalorian Starfighters, like sets like that. But last year I spent between $150,000 and $175,000 on Lego stuff. Again, a lot of that is like revolving inventory, so it kind of stacks and makes the number feel higher than it really is if we're just considering Lego that I bought to make videos on for the channel. But that's how much money I spent on Lego. Total, I spent just over $200,000 to run my business in 2022, so that does include like people I paid to edit stuff for me, Adobe Photoshop, that's $20 a month, my storage unit, Lego convention tickets, hotels, the new camera that I bought that I'm using to film this very video. I think we all know the old saying, you gotta spend money to make money, and I think with my YouTube channel and my like business side of it, I guess now, there is nothing more true than that for me. So yeah, I spent a lot of money last year, and for my like personal side of things for 2023, I'm trying to not like buy a lot of stuff. I'm trying to not make frivolous purchases so that I can completely focus on the business and pour as much money into that as I can, basically. But yeah, I spent a lot of money last year to make things work, and I expect to spend even more in 2023, given that I'm going to have an office space. I'm going to have employees that are there in a very large capacity, be it full-time, 40 hours a week, probably not quite yet, but definitely a couple of people working part-time, and that's going to be really consistent. And mind you, this is all just money that I've grown from literally a channel that used to make $1 a day on YouTube. I mean, it's like insane how far this channel and business has grown, and obviously none of it happens without you guys, the viewers, so of course, thank you. But man, it's wild to look at that number and how much I spent last year, and then remember like how I used to like, I would be mowing the lawn, and I'm like, I would only have to mow the lawn like 60 times to buy the UCS Death Star, and I'm like trying to work that out in my head, how long that would take. Yeah, times have changed, which is awesome. Second Amendment says, if you were to work at LEGO, what job would you want? There's only one job, and that would be some capacity of like decision making at the top of LEGO Star Wars, or consultation with LEGO Star Wars. Something to help make the thing that I like better in a real capacity. Like, obviously we've been able to affect LEGO Star Wars and help make it better in some ways, but having like an official capacity before products release, like sign away your life on NDAs type of job, that's the one job that I would want at LEGO, and that's probably the only job that I would want there, because it's the only thing that would give me any true fulfillment. Like, everything else would be kind of empty. Like, actually being able to make the thing that I like and love and have thought about basically every day of my life for the past 15 or 20 years, and like make it better in a meaningful way, yeah, I would want that. Everything else I just wouldn't care about, and I'd rather be doing this. And even if I was doing that, I would still want to be doing YouTube, which would make it really hard, but like, they would never hire me. It doesn't really matter, but you asked, I answered. MandRproductions says, thoughts on the LEGO Ideas A-frame cabin? Will you be picking it up? Absolutely. This might be my favorite LEGO Ideas set ever. This is amazing looking. I'm so thrilled with this. It's $180, 2,082 pieces, so right off the bat, the price per piece will make those sorts of people happy. I don't really care about that, but 180 bucks just feels fair for what it looks like I'm getting. My uncle actually has an A-frame house up in Massachusetts that I visited a ton, and I would love to be able to make this review like outside, or I guess even inside of that house, but it wouldn't be until the summer if I did do that. This is an exciting one. It's definitely a really cool LEGO idea set, and I think it's going to prove to be very, very popular. Mason Brown says, do you have any beef with other LEGO YouTubers? This is something that I have honestly tried to avoid for the past year or two. It has been something, I know I used to do like the Brickbuster series, and you might have noticed I made them all private. I basically decided I didn't want a whole ton to do with people drama, and that it wasn't worth it, and that like for the most part we're all kind of in LEGO with each other, and like we shouldn't really be attacking one another for kind of trivial things. So I kind of changed my view on that and how I handled that. I would much rather make a fuss about the antenna on the LEGO Star Wars File First Battle Pack, because that is obviously wrong, you know? I've tried to focus a lot more on myself and what I care about, and what I care about is LEGO and their product that they're putting out, and whether or not it's good or bad. And so instead of focusing on other people, I focus on that, and I think that's been better for me, and I like living that life better. So we're gonna try to continue on that route, but you know, never say never, I guess, with beef. But you know, ideally I don't want to be beefing with people. It's just not worth my time. Most of the time nowadays, if I like really dislike someone, I just block them, unfollow, have a nice life, see ya type of thing. Like, I'm better off without you, basically. Like, I think that's the best way you can handle any type of thing like that in your life. Like, whether it's a relationship with a girl or a boy or whatever, like, you just see ya, have a nice time. It's not worth fighting over, you know? And nothing gets me more than being lied to. So there's some people in the community that have done that with me, and I'm just like, I'm not into it. I'm not gonna be lied to. If you lie to me, have a nice day. You know, see you in another life, I guess, because I'm just not gonna have it. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. A little peek into the budget of my LEGO buying in 2022. Ask me again at the end of 2023, and it might be even crazier. My accountant, I think from now on, is going to do my bookkeeping, so it will actually be a little bit easier for me to get you an answer. I won't have to go through and count up receipts again and crap like I did this year. I'm maturing. I'm setting up my business for 2023 to succeed. If you enjoyed, hit the like button. If you have a question for next week's episode, leave it down in the comment section below. And it looks like the Bills are gonna beat the Dolphins, unfortunately. And don't forget this. So y'all have a great night.